So you want to get to seven figures in your personal training studio. Well, let me tell you, it's not as easy as it sounds. We've identified seven stages to get to that seven-figure mark, and we're going to walk through those seven stages today. So we're going to get right into it today. Stage number one is where you're starting from, which is where you going back to your grassroots, an independent trainer. You're either working at a gold gym, a big box gym, or even another personal training studio. You're starting as a trainer. Maybe you're training people out of their house, but this is where you're starting from. You're making about 30K a year, give or take, but this is the range in where you're at. So this is stage one, the independent trainer, the grassroots. You just got certified. You're excited. You walk into the gym. You're like, hey, I want a job. They hire you and you're a personal trainer. Now you're working floor hours. You're trying to sell people. You're trying to do all this random stuff. But that is stage one. This is where it begins.
And stage one is important. It teaches you some things. Working at a big bucks gym teaches you some ins and outs of selling, which you need to know. Working as a contractor for another facility where maybe you're paying him rent or whatever setup that is, teaches you how to manage your books a little bit and manage your business and manage your funds. So these things are not all for naught. They are important stages in giving you the taste of what managing your own business and selling and all that kind of stuff is. But you're never going to make much more than 30 to 50 grand. I mean, and if you're making 50, you're probably burning the candle at both ends to get there. So it's just not conducive for somebody that wants more and wants to be in control of their own business. But this is the first step where you start to get that twinkle in your eye that says, maybe I can do this myself. Maybe I can do this better. And maybe it'll work out and I'll make a little bit more money. And this is the first step that people are in when they're thinking about opening their own gym. And you start thinking about it at that stage.
Yeah, I think the life cycle of a personal trainer from the time they get their certification to the time they quit the industry is a year. So during this time, this is going to show you, okay, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? It really, and I always recommend you got to start I would recommend if you're a brand new personal trainer reading this, listening to this, to go to a big, busy box gym and start there. Get as much experience as you can. Figure out if you actually like it, if you can do it, if you can make a living out of it. You have to kind of go through that sucky stage one in order to figure out what not to do. You're going to learn a lot, make a lot of mistakes there. So that is stage one. And it's an important stage, like Jimmy said. But now, let's shift gears to stage number two. Stage number two is the pre-sale stage. So now you're saying, okay, I can do this. I've worked at a big box gym for a year, 2 years, whatever it's been. I'm making, okay money, but I can do this for myself. I know what to do. So now you decide on a space. If you've listened to this, you understand what to look for, what your lease should be, what your model should be. So now you go into your space, you're in that pre-sale stage. You're going to get clients. Maybe some of your clients are coming with you from the big box gym or whatever it is. But in this stage, you're probably going to make zero to the same amount of money you're making now initially. And this stage could last probably like 6 months to a year, depending on, the rate of growth. If you're listening to things like this, episodes like this, that's what's going to make a big difference. But this pre-sale stage is so important because it's going to be the kickoff for your business.
So, Anthony, in that first year, I know that you went off in a little bit of a different direction initially when you broke off from the big box. But how much were you making your first year on your own?
So I don't remember what I made the first year, but the first month I made 4K.
Yeah.
And that was like tying what I was making, at the gym already. So I was like, all right, this is not so bad. And then it's cool because you start to see your income, you start keeping track of things very differently when you own a business versus when you're an employee. Yeah. So I made 4K my first month. And then I was like, all right, and I worked less, which was
Yeah.
funny. I worked a lot less. So I'm
Yep.
like, okay, this works. I can do this. So that's kind of like where it begins.
And that's exactly the reason why I bring that up is because that's exactly where I was as well, right? First month, I think it was 4 or 5. And it was the first time out on my own, renting space from another facility as an independent contractor, right? And that is kind of the initial stage that people find themselves in, right? It's like maybe 5K, whatever, right? You maybe make 30 grand in top line revenue in that first little bit of time, right? And it's very similar to what you were making as a trainer, but there is light at the end of that tunnel. And as we move into phase 2, you have a space leased, or you found one that you like. You have started to think about what you would be doing to grow that facility and gain more clients. And this is a stage where having some coaching and some consulting from somebody who's been there helps a lot, because the pre-sale component is where people don't think that they can afford somebody to help them, but it's the stage that can get you to a point where you're profitable way more quickly if you have somebody in your corner helping you design what you need to design to get more clients in the door from the beginning. Because now you have a rent that you have rent that you have to pay every month. It's much bigger than what you're used to. I remember my business was making 4 or 5 a month. And then when I went to rent my first space, it was $2,500. So I just cut my income in half by renting out a new space. And I had to figure out how to gain more clients. And so when we look at phase 2, having a coach in your corner to walk you through the aspects that are going to be important in your business will help you jump leaps and bounds to phase 3.
Yeah, one other point before we go to phase 3, I just wanted to touch on is when I first started, I was like so afraid to like do any digital advertising. You know, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to spend so much money. I don't know what I'm doing. If I would have had a good coach like FPM, like the guys at FPM, you know, I would have grown so much faster. And remember, you pay for coaching to pay to that learning curve and not make mistakes. That's basically what you're paying for. You're paying for the ability to skip time. Because if I would have had, if let's just say I would have had Jimmy as my coach when I first left the gym, Jimmy would have given me specific things to work on. Do this. Like I started with one-on-one. So when I left the gym, I went into one-on-one, which is what I was doing at the gym. Jimmy would have said, no, go into semi-private. I would have made way more money and I worked a lot less if I would have made that one switch right away. You know, then Jimmy would have told me, okay, get a CRM right away. Start, you know, and all these other things that would have made me way more money. So, you know, you're paying for a coach for the guidance, which is exactly to get there faster, to kind of skip these stages, so to say, and get there quicker. But stage 3, now where are you in this stage? Stage 3, you're a solopreneur. You're starting to do good. You're making your way up. You're probably making about 100K, 120K a year at this point. You've got a good group of clients. You know, you're starting to identify your OGs in your gym, you know, the original gangster clients that you might have. And you're at that run rate mark, but you're still doing everything. You're cleaning the gym, you're billing people, you're training all the sessions. So this is the step up from just starting your business.
So one of the problems in this phase is that you get to about that 6-figure mark, right? Some gurus will talk about six figure, that it's such a big deal, but 6 figures is not a business, right? Just cresting over that 6-figure mark is not a business. That's just a job that pays you really bad, right? Because you're working 70, 80 hours a week doing everything, waking up at 4 a.m. to get to the gym for your 5 a.m., 5:30 clients, and you're going to be at that gym until 9 p.m. every day. And staying there too long is not something that you want to do, right? So you want to be sure that you move to the next phase as quick as you can once you get to this point. Because this is a recipe for disaster and a recipe for burnout when you approach this level of, okay, I'm making 100 grand a year, I'm doing everything, and you're just trying to stay awake enough to clean the toilet at the end of the day. And that becomes your life and becomes such an easy way to burn out in this time. So you want to jump from this phase, the solopreneur phase, to the next phase as quickly as possible, even if you can't really afford it. Even if you can't really afford it. I stayed in this phase way too long. Burned me out. I wasn't motivated to grow the gym after we kind of got to that next stage that we needed to get to, and I spent too much time there. So spending a maximum, I would say, a maximum of 18 months in this phase, if not less, is probably where you want to be, this solopreneur. You may think you can do it all, and you have this pride about doing all the work and getting the gym going and doing everything. But when you don't have the freedom to focus on the things that are actually going to grow your business, and you're focused on the X's and O's of training and training all your clients, and then you're not really even that focused on selling new clients, because you're focused on creating a good experience and a good atmosphere for your people, it's not going to scale you in the way that you need to scale the facility to actually find some freedom and be the true owner of that business that you're looking to be.
Yep. Agreed, man. And that was a good way to summarize that. So what is stage 4? So stage 4, at this stage, you're making about 240K a year, 20K a month, something like that. And you have hired one employee at this stage. So you're one employee. So now you're still doing everything, but you got somebody else in your corner helping you. Now, people will argue you need to hire an admin first, you need to hire a marketing assistant or an assistant first, or I think your first hire, if you're only going to make one hire, you got to get a trainer in there. You got to pull yourself off the floor so you can do what you do best, which is market and sell your baby, your gym. So that should be your first. I would even argue maybe like a pre-hire would be like a janitor, someone to come in and cleans. This way you could train more sessions. You could even argue with that one. But you have about one other trainer as an employee at this stage in your business. So now you're still working a lot of hours, but now you're beginning to start to scale, because now you're going to pull yourself out of sessions. You're going to put this other trainer in the sessions. And what you're going to do during that time is pick up the phone and start dialing. Dial the leads, dial the people that are interested, sell, do more selling activities, because that's going to generate more revenue for your business. You might like the training. You might like being a trainer, and there's a lot of positives to being a trainer. Like you get a good flow of endorphins every time you do a session, but it's not going to grow your business and give you the freedom and profits you want.
100%. And with that, there's a couple of cool ways that you can compartmentalize this at this phase. Okay. So how many admin tasks do you really have to do with a small member base? Not that many, right? Not that many. So you could handle that, or you can have your trainer hire who wants full-time work double as an admin. They can also clean your gym. You can replace the hours that you're going to be selling more readily. So typically the evening time is sales time for the most part. So replace those training hours with your trainer's hours so that you can still work the morning shift and then sell people at night, because you need to focus more on sales activity at that point. But you can also ask some trusted clients of yours if they are willing to help you in exchange for a free membership. If they are willing to help you with the admin work, they're willing to help you clean the gym, they're willing to help you, go to the store and buy the consumables for the gym, things like that. Little menial tasks that you just need somebody to get off your plate. You can always go that route. And that's one way that you can save some money in the beginning to make your life a little bit easier at that stage where you can't quite afford to hire somebody, but you need a trainer. So you hire the trainer part-time, and then you maybe get one of your clients to help you with the administrative tasks. And then that's kind of the first person that you train. You already know them, you like them, they're kind of getting a deal, a little bit of a trade agreement there. And that's one thing that can help you get off the ground in the beginning when maybe funds are a little bit tight for you to make things run. So just a couple of food for thought ideas there.
All right. So what's stage 5? So now, again, you're going through this model, you're working, you have another trainer working with you. So stage 5 now, at this point, you're probably making about $350K a year. That's kind of like the goal where you're at, give or take, probably about 25 to 35 range per month is what you're doing. And you got another trainer, so you got paying another trainer. You're doing all the sales and all the marketing. But now at this point, you should be completely pulled out of the trainer seat. You should not be training any sessions. So that means at this stage, you're going to have the other staff that's going to associate and help you. You'll have somebody cleaning. Like Jimmy said, you can probably barter with somebody to do that. You're going to have multiple trainers in there to help you. And at this stage, you might even have someone who's the head trainer. You might have passed off the duties of like programming to this person, or you might have another trainer who doubles as like a marketing assistant for you, who helps you put out posts. But your trainers you have multiple trainers now who are wearing a couple of different hats to help you. You're still the head salesperson and the head marketer for your business. And you're also like the leader. You're leading the other trainers. But at this stage, you might have one of the trainers who might help you with selling. Maybe they pick up the phone and help you set appointments. Maybe they actually start doing some of the selling for you. But this is the stage you want to be at when you're at that kind of revenue.
And some people, some gurus may tell you, now is the time to farm everything out, to farm out the sales, to make the gym run without you. Well, if you want a 7-figure business, this is not the time to do that. It's not time yet. You're not making enough money from the business to generate enough profit to live the life that you want. Hey, we like 50% margins. We like 50% margins in our businesses, right? So if you're trying to get 50% margins, there's no way you're going to get 50% margins when you're making 35, 45 a month, whatever it is, right? 35 a month, and you farm everything out. And you have a salesperson, you're paying commission, you have trainers, you have admins, all this stuff. You're left with not a lot of money left over at the end of the day, depending on what your rent is. So at this stage, I would not get this business to operate without you yet. Not yet. You are now the marketer and the salesperson. That is your role. Everything else off your plate. If you find yourself doing those tasks again that you were doing years previous, get rid of them, right? Make sure that you do time blocking of your schedule in your day and look at all the tasks that you're participating in. If it's an admin task, a training task, writing a program, any of those kinds of things that don't have anything to do with revenue generating activity, do not do them. Get rid of them and make sure that you train your staff properly to take care of those things. And if they do them 80% as well as you do, perfect. Let them go, because you don't need to be in control of those things anymore. You need to be in control of sales and marketing.
So moving on to stage number 6. And this is the stage that a lot of people have trouble with. This is the stage where you're closing in on that 7-figure run rate. You're closing in on that. You're probably at around 500 to 700K at this point. But when you get to this stage, you are completely removed from the business. Probably closer to that 700 range is when you're completely like, okay, you're just like an advisor for your business at that stage. Because remember, the goal of this is to put money in your pocket, but also to give you the freedom. If I or Jimmy want to go and take a 4-week vacation, we can go and do that, and our gyms will grow. That's the freedom that we want for you. So at this stage, you are completely removed. You're not training any sessions. You're not doing any selling. You might be doing a little bit of the marketing, but like I said, you're almost an advisor to your business. Your business is so systematized at this point and so scalable that you are not needed. And I will tell you, this is probably one of the best stages you could be in.
100%. And like Anthony's saying, it's really that, between 500 and 750 is really where this happens. And you have to realize that this doesn't happen on a whim, and this doesn't happen just because you reach that revenue number. It has to be an active pursuit of training and hiring the right people to do these things and building the processes and systems as you grow to that point to get these other people to take care of the things that you once took care of. So you can actually sit in that advisor seat. And that's a really eloquent way to put it, Anthony. And I had not thought about it in that regard before, but that's really what our roles are. Thinking about my role in my business now, that's really what it is. You're in an advisory role. You host a couple of meetings or chime in on a couple of meetings. You tweak some marketing here and there. You talk about what promotions you're going to run and make sure they're running on time. And you maybe change some of the promos based upon the knowledge that you have over the years of what worked and what didn't. But you really sit in an advisory role, and your requirements to that facility are probably somewhere around 5 hours a week at that point. And that's what you're trying to get to. 5 hours a week where your business is making somewhere between 500 and 750 a year, and you're pulling 40 to 50% margins off the top of that. That's really the goal, but it doesn't happen overnight, and you're going to need some help to build the processes, systems, and things that you need to get there. And you have to set it up properly in the stage before to have done enough selling to know how to train that sales individual and get enough of a flywheel going that you have enough clients in the facility to keep this thing running as you replace yourself in sales.
And the sales stuff is something that we could teach you and how to scale your sales system, how to scale your sales team. This is basically what we specialize in, what we do, and we do it well. My head salesperson is closing at 80% online. We don't do any of our sales appointments in person. So that speaks volume of how well we're training our staff people, because that's a much harder sale than doing it in person. It's just funny at this stage. Some people are like, well, I don't know if I want to be totally removed, and that's fine. But you want to have that freedom to do whatever you want. This is your business. You can do whatever you want. If you want to train sessions, you can still train sessions, but it's because you want to train them. I personally do not want to be time bound to training sessions. I have kids. I want to be there for my kids. I want to take my time in the morning getting the kids to school because I want to be able to hang out with them. I hate rushing in the morning to get the kids out of the house so I can get to the gym because I have an appointment. I hate that. I don't want that for you because, your kids, and for those of you that don't have kids, but kids are very impressionable from the age 0 all the way to I think like 9 or 10. They're very, very impressionable. So if you could spend that time with your kids, it's so valuable and priceless. And the other thing I want to talk about here is we're throwing out the word systems. System. What does that mean? Systems gives you the ability to be free. So when we say systems are more important than the money in your business. I hate to say it like that. The money's important too, but the systems are more important because if the system is done right, it's going to be done correctly all the time.
So valuable, man. It's the thing that switches you over to actually have a living, breathing business. It's the processes and systems that your business is governed by that get you there. So we're talking about numbers and we're talking about money and we're talking about benchmarks, but you don't get there without processes and systems, and you have to build them over time in this fashion. From phase 1 to phase 7, which we're about to get into, you push processes through the entire thing. You do it, you chart it, you process it, you teach somebody else how to do it, you revamp the process over time. These are living documents, right? These things change a little bit with different things that come down the pipeline, but it is so important. We can't stress enough how important and how valuable processes and systems are. It's what franchises are built on. That's why people buy franchises. Very, very important.
Which brings us to stage number 7. And this stage is investing. At this stage, you are at the 7-figure mark. And this is where you can say, okay, I'm fully removed from my business. I'm an advisor at this stage. Now is when you really make wealth, because now your money is out there in the gym. It's making money for you. You're getting a bunch of profit now. And if you're, we're talking about 50% margins here. So you're making 50% of this money doing nothing. Now is when you take this money and you invest it to make you more money. Because fitness as the vehicle to get rich is not the vehicle. It's not. I think only 1% of gyms make it to 7 figures. So that's why we're trying to outline this for you to get more people to that run rate. But this is when you take those chunks of money that you're earning every month and you invest that into another vehicle. That could be opening up another gym, taking the systems that you scale and go and put it in another location. Maybe it's buying real estate. Maybe it's investing in the stock market. But this is the stage where it gets crazy. Because if you have a gym spitting off all that money and you go and invest it into something else that's spitting back more money to you, money is like a magnet in that case. And this is where you can really change your family tree, change your life, change your kids' life, change your wife's life, change everything in your business. And this is what we ultimately want for you. It's a great stage to be at. And we just want that for you. So if you guys are interested in taking yourself to the next level, just make sure you click those links below and we can teach you how to walk through stage by stage here to get to that next level. Jimmy, anything else you want to add on that stage 7?
Stage 7's fun, man. It's just your gym's spitting off cash and you can do what you want. I think Anthony covered it all, but there's plenty of, we're not financial advisors, but there's plenty of ways in which you can now take that money because you have that freedom because your life is now taken care of, right? Your life is taken care of, your family's taken care of. All these things are solid. So you can take that money and go, do I want to rebuild another vehicle just like this one? Do I want to do something more passive? Do I want to get into rentals? Do I want to do these things? Because you have the freedom and the ability to do those things now because you have the free cash flow, right? And that's the stage that we want everybody to get into so that they can really grow their businesses in a way that allows them to have all of this freedom, not only time freedom, but financial freedom as well.
All right, guys. Until the next one, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.